Hi, I'm Chad Griffiths. Raise a glass if you're seeing things out of the corner of your eye that you really hope aren't there. And you're on Late Night Philosophy. The time is 5:31. And we are on the last section of this study guide, Psychological Egoism. We have covered statement and explanation of psychological egoism, psychological altruism, moral significance of psychological egoism, why should we care, and finally, the commonly cited egoist motives for the apparently altruistic behavior. Now all we've got left is the egoist's argument from our strongest desire, and Schaefer-Landau's two criticisms of these arguments. So let's get to it. So, the argument of our strongest desire goes as follows. Whenever you do something, you are motivated by your strongest desire. 2. Whenever you are motivated by your strongest desire, you are pursuing your self-interest. 3. Therefore, whenever you do something, you are pursuing your self-interest. Okay, so it's a fair argument, but there are some objections that you can immediately raise. So, the first objection targets your first premise, which is that whenever you do something, you are motivated by your strongest desire. It looks at the motivations. Premise 1 can be challenged by the fact that sometimes we do things because they're right, not because we want to. For example, I do not want to be awake right now. I do not want to be studying right now. I do not want to be writing an essay when I finish this study guide right now, or very soon to be right now. But I'm doing it. And I'm doing it because it's conscientious. It's what I need to do. And it is, believe me, strictly conscientious. None of me wants to be here. My brain does not want to be here. It is attempting to escape by conjuring phantoms on the sides of my head. My body does not want to be here. It wants to be taking a shower or sleeping. And my soul probably does not want to be here. It's been generally quiet on the matter. Regardless, I'm still here. And therefore, I'm not really motivated by my strongest desire right now, because believe me, my strongest desire is to stop the spiral. But I can't. Schaefer-Landau's admission is, well, maybe we want to do what is right. So, sure, we can be motivated by our strongest desire, but what if our strongest desire is what's right? Because it is right for me to be doing this, because it creates the greatest amount of potential success for the future, it's what you're expected to do in college, it's why I'm here, there's lots of reasons. Just putting myself up on a plate as the example, but while I want to do what's right, it's not exactly my strongest desire to be here. So that's that objection. The second target that Schaefer-Landau has is premise 2, which is that whenever you're motivated by your strongest desire, you are pursuing your self-interest. Well, what this says is that whenever our strongest desires aren't always for personal gain. Schaefer-Landau says we should not confuse the possessor of the desire with the content of the desire. Just because X acts on X's strongest desire doesn't mean that the content of the desire, what the desire is about, is self-serving. So this one's a bit complicated, so let's break it down into pieces. The first thing is that strongest desires are not always for personal gain. Well, let's try to figure this out. Schaefer-Landau says we should not confuse the possessor of the desire with the content of the desire. And I'm emphasizing those two words because they're underlined. Possessor of the desire. So I possess the desire to go to sleep. The content of the desire would then be go to sleep. Yeah, so you act on your strongest desire doesn't mean that the desire is always self-serving. Also, when a person's desires are satisfied, that person typically feels pleasure, but it doesn't follow that the pleasure must have been the motive all along. The pleasure could be a byproduct of the action, but not its driving purpose. So this is where the altruists strike back against the psychological egoists, when they are like, hey, so doing good makes you feel good, so we win. That's it. Well, sure, it might. But your desire isn't always to feel good. Now, Schaefer-Landau actually says that this is even stronger because if you look at different examples, and this whole possessor of the desire versus content of the desire, it can sort of be explained through these examples. So, one example is, I am currently drinking this poisonous vessel of fumes, toxins, chemicals, and caffeine. Now, I am drinking this to stay awake. That is the purpose. But as a result of me drinking this, I'm going to empty this can, and I'm going to throw it away. But I did not purchase this, and I'm not drinking it to throw it away. It doesn't make any sense. I know it's going to be an eventual consequence of what I do. I know that drinking it, I'm eventually going to have to get rid of it, because it will then be an empty vessel. Or I'll have to do something with it. I guess I could not throw it away, but, like, why would you not? Don't let her, kids. Smokey the Bear will eat you in your sleep. But my goal isn't to empty the can. I mean, my goal isn't to throw away the empty can. My goal is to stay caffeinated and stay in a semblance of alive enough to both make these recordings, and I had that headphone in my ear this entire time. I'm just a frickin' genius at this hour. 5:37. No, it is not 5:17. I wish. No, but I think you get my point. There's another example, too. If I put on an outfit in the morning, the eventual result of this is going to be that I'm going to have to do laundry. But I don't put on clothes to do laundry. I put on clothes so I can fit in society and occasionally look good when I'm not wearing a crappy t-shirt because it's finals week and I could not care less. There's many reasons for wearing clothes, but the reason isn't to do laundry. Well, I mean, it makes the same sense when it comes to actions. I can help someone because I feel bad for them, and as a result, I can feel really good inside, but I didn't do it to feel good inside. I did it because they needed help. Or so Schaefer-Landau's argument goes. That's sort of his counter to the whole, well, you're gonna feel good if you do good, so must be egoism because we want to feel good. Well, okay, Schaefer-Landau says, that's fair, but feeling good isn't the ultimate objective, always, when you're doing good. It can be, but it isn't always, and therefore, because you remove that always, psychological egoism runs into trouble because it requires that always to function. So yeah, that's the argument from Our Strongest Desire. His two premises are strictly conscientious action, and the pleasure could be a byproduct of the action, but not its driving purpose. There's also the argument from expected benefit, which I think I understand decently, but according to this, it's not actually on the test. So, considering the state I'm in, mentally and physically, I think I'm gonna take a hard pass on that one. Or maybe a soft pass. I don't typically take soft passes, as has been commented on by my friends and family. Alright, well, you've been watching the gradual spiral into insanity, sleep, and the unknown. I'm Chad Griffiths. I've been your host. Thank you for joining me. And I'm probably going to have to go through and record the first two again, so I'd like to say this is the last, but, you know, it probably isn't. We'll see. Have a good night.